number of ballot measures that John and I talked about briefly earlier today. Not briefly, we talked about it for a full hour. But I wanted to give you some of the results because some of the results have now come in. And these are the ballot initiatives that I was personally interested in. So in the state of Missouri, they have legalized medical marijuana.
Excellent.
Yes. Everyone loves the reefer. All right.
So look, we win on issues. It's just when you get to the candidates, there's the media coverage that's a problem, and there's the money that's a problem. But on the issues, we're killing them.
Yes, exactly. All right. So another good piece of news coming out of Missouri. They have the voters have overwhelmingly voted in favor of gradually increasing the minimum wage in their state. So the state's minimum wage would increase in annual increments to $12 an hour in 2023. It's currently $7.85, just to give you a sense of how low wages are in the state of Missouri, minimum wages.
I want to give you a little bit of context. There's this city of St. Louis increased the minimum wage. The state of Missouri said, nah, we don't want to give it to you. So these guys, the conservatives in Missouri who claimed that they care about local rule all these years, they're like, we're just kidding, we're totally lying. That's our corporate friends don't want that. They don't want you to have better wages, so you won't. So they repealed the higher minimum wage in St. Louis. It was outrageous, absolutely outrageous. So they're like, all right, fine, we'll go to a ballot measure. And that was a compromise measure. I hope they make it stronger because they get to $12 by 2023.
I mean, when you consider inflation, it's gonna cancel out by then.
But nonetheless, it's a vast improvement, $7.85. And this is something corporate Democrats have trouble figuring out. Turns out people like higher wages. Wow, that politics is so complicated.
In fact, I have another example of people wanting higher wages. In the state of Arkansas, the voters have overwhelmingly voted in favor of increasing minimum wage there. So the state's minimum wage is going to increase to $11 an hour by 2021. Currently, it's $8.50 an hour. So 68% of voters approve this ballot initiative.
People in Missouri and Arkansas, I mean, you just overwhelmingly put a Republican in the Senate. I got news for you. I guess the media didn't tell you and the Democrats didn't tell you. The Republicans don't want you to have higher wages, period. They vote against minimum wage. The minimum wage ballot measures that you just overwhelmingly approved in both of those states, they vote against them every time. So if you like a higher minimum wage, don't ever vote for a Republican. In fact, sometimes what Republicans do is if they don't like ballot measures, they're like, my corporate donors don't like that. They sometimes repeal ballot measures. They did it in South Dakota. It's outrageous. And I would argue illegal, unconstitutional, et cetera. And they're like, yeah, on the other hand, my corporate donors don't want you to have higher wages. So you ought to have your head examined if you're voting for Republicans because they vote against your higher wages every time. Look into it. If you don't believe me, Google it, go do some research. See if a Republican in your neck of the woods ever voted for a higher minimum wage. I'll tell you, sight unseen, no matter where you are, the answer is no. They never voted for a higher minimum wage.
Some are against the concept of a minimum wage.
Yep. Well, because that's going to take away our ability to fearmonger. Because it's all the immigrants and the brown people taking jobs, and so by you continuing to have lower wages, it's a way that they can continue to reinforce that whole narrative and keep you scared and broke.
And one final thing on that, it is amazing to me. I mean, there's a lot of ads that need to be made that don't get made, but Donald Trump twice on the debate stage said wages are too high. And the forgotten majority who's been left behind in the economy was like, I like that guy, the guy that thinks they get paid too much right now.
You just made such a good point, John. And that drove me nuts because he keeps handing Democrats great material, but they latch on to the things that actually make Trump popular, right? Yes. The identity politics, let it go. Because the fact of the matter is, this country has a huge population of people who love what he has to say about race, unfortunately, what he has to say about the border wall, what he has to say about immigration. You have to let that go for campaigning purposes. You have to focus on the issues that impact every single American, regardless of their political affiliation. And that includes wages, that includes housing affordability, just college affordability, quality public schools, those types of things. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Nebraska and how the voters feel about Medicaid expansion. So what happened? I thought that, right wing absolutely hates government-controlled healthcare, except no, they don't. So the majority of voters in Nebraska want to expand Medicaid, but so it has not been called yet, to be fair, but it looks promising. So far, it's 53.2% who say that they want to expand Medicaid.
Right. While at the same time electing a new Republican to the Senate and a new governor who's a Republican.
And those Republicans who block Medicaid expansion.
It's amazing.
And so, but look, it's inarguably a failure of the media and a failure of the Democratic Party. Because the Republican Party is against these incredibly popular measures. You name any issue in the country, I can show you a poll where progressives have 60% of the country or more on their side. Almost any issue. And yet, people vote against Democrats and they vote for Republicans who are opposed to the things that they believe. Why? Because the media never told them the truth. They called it 50-50. And the Democrats are terrible at their jobs. So they don't get out there and tell people, hey, we're for you having higher wages. We're for you having better health care. And so they let the Republicans run roughshod over them. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.